Hey there, ho there! I'm Dr. Ruby, and I'd like to welcome you to the place where learning is always free and the sale of supplemental materials like flashcards benefits Ruby's Rescues, my Atlanta-based nonprofit devoted to helping orphan, sick, and special needs wild animals. Welcome. This collection of materials is for anyone who wants to improve their sight reading of musical notes on the grand staff. By using story elements, movement, and vivid images, I'm hoping to help these notes grow strong roots in your long-term memory. The method contained in these lessons is the direct result of my own struggles. The notes on the staff never seem to stick in my long-term memory. They all seem to blend together, one note or line melding with all of the others. Many of us began our career in music with these mnemonic devices shown here and what we call rote learning, basic memorization by repetition. When I have ample time, I'm able to determine any note on the grand staff with confidence. However, knowing the order allows me to run through them using this sentence, but mix things up and ask me to name notes very quickly out of order, and my brain struggles to keep up. If I'm looking at the fourth line up from the bottom on treble clef, I'm not always able to jump to D for does because the memory trick does not help me memorize the place of D, just that it comes after E, G, and B. I stared at the notes on the page, just waiting and hoping. Why is this so hard? And it never seemed to get easier until I'd played a particular note hundreds or even thousands of times. The frustration always mounted, and it sometimes made me want to give up. When I first started learning to sight read, a page like this was so troublesome. Each note is identically shaped, and what distinguishes one from another is the placement on this grouping of lines. But each line looks the same, as does each space in between the lines. I knew I needed to create meaning in these spaces, from deep below to high up above. One level really needed to stand out from the others in key ways. Believe it or not, these characters have been showing up in my mind for more than a decade. What started as an intuitive notion that there has to be a better way has transformed into a bustling town of the Grand Staff where the characters just showed up, interacted, and forever claimed their place on the staff. I knew I was onto something when Gull sauntered onto the scene. He just sat there on top of the treble clef and stared at me as if he was waiting impatiently for me to do something. He sat day after day, and then one day I just asked him a question. After some eye rolling, he started talking and stirring up drama. From there, the method grew a life of its own and blossomed into what I will share in these videos. After Gull showed up, the background of this adventure started peeking into view. Since treble and bass are separate parts of the grand staff, they needed to stand apart. I imagined Gull looking around as an entire world began to appear around him. Of course, the background of Gull's part of the staff was set where the ocean meets the sky, makes sense. Above, the space transitioned into the glory of outer space. Below him, lines and spaces disappeared into the deep depths of our Earth's oceans. Here you can begin to see how each level was a distinct and separate part of a larger whole. For the first time, I could sense how middle C would be forever set apart from the C note 2 octaves higher. One would be set in the deep, dark, luminescent depths of the ocean, the other set among the stars. I knew I needed to keep the grand staff from becoming too busy, though, so one of my first decisions was to ask this vibrant setting to drift back just a bit. I increased the transparency of the background images just to make sure the characters and actions would stand out and be as memorable as possible. I tried my best to mimic some of the colors used as visual aids by scientists as well as teachers, colors that help us better understand how history altered the surface of the Earth. The coming months brought potential characters in and out of a bustling scene, each vying for my attention and trying to fit seamlessly into the scene. But eventually the cast of characters settled in for the long haul, and the minute they were cast, it's as if they just looked around to discover nearby neighbors, sometimes creating fast friendships, other times layered with fear or even conflict.